What if everything you believed about Hollywood's most iconic love scenes was hiding a darker, more complicated truth? Deborah Kerr, the woman who created cinema magic with Burt Lancaster in that unforgettable beach scene, carried a secret about her legendary co-star for decades. And what she finally revealed before her passing shocked everyone who thought they knew the real story. Born in Scotland in 1921, Deborah Kerr didn't stumble into stardom. She earned every ounce of it through discipline that started long before the cameras ever rolled. Her father, a military man, passed away from injuries sustained during the war, leaving her mother to raise her alone. That early loss taught Deborah something crucial. Grace under pressure isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, piece by piece, through the hardest moments of your life. She trained as a ballet dancer, spending grueling hours perfecting every movement, every line of her body. When an injury destroyed her dreams of dancing professionally, she didn't collapse. She transformed. All that training, all that control, all that physical awareness became the foundation of something even more powerful, a screen presence that audiences couldn't look away from. Every gesture she made on film had purpose. Every glance carried weight. She didn't just act. She commanded attention without ever demanding it. British cinema introduced her to the world in the early 1940s, but Hollywood made her a star. And unlike so many actresses who got boxed into playing one type of character over and over, Deborah refused to be limited. She could be vulnerable without being weak, intelligent without being cold, dignified without being distant. She played women who faced impossible choices, women who carried their strength quietly, women who understood that real courage doesn't always look heroic. Then came 1953. From Here to Eternity changed everything. As Karen Holmes, a military wife torn between duty and desire, Deborah delivered a performance that broke through every stereotype Hollywood had tried to pin on her. That beach scene with Burt Lancaster became more than just a moment in film history. It became a cultural touchstone, an image burned into the collective memory of cinema. But here's what most people never understood. The passion audiences saw on screen came from somewhere deeper than acting technique. It came from emotional honesty that Deborah brought to every single frame. The 1950s belonged to her. The King and I showed her wit and intelligence as she matched Yul Brynner's commanding presence beat for beat. Sure, they dubbed her singing voice, but the emotional performance, that was all Deborah. The Academy recognized it with yet another nomination, one of 6 she would receive over her career. In Heaven Knows, Mr. Allison, she played a nun wrestling with faith, fear, and feelings she couldn't name. The way she communicated inner conflict without a single grand gesture proved something important. The most powerful performances whisper instead of shout. If this story about Deborah Kerr's incredible life and the truth she finally revealed touches your heart, please share it with someone who appreciates real Hollywood history. Her filmography became a masterclass in portraying women of conscience, Black Narcissus, The Innocents, Separate Tables. Each role peeled back another layer of psychological complexity. In The Innocents particularly, she delivered one of the most haunting performances in cinema history, playing a governess descending into ambiguity and terror. Critics still study that film, still try to unpack how she made every moment feel both real and otherworldly. 6 Academy Award nominations. 6 times the Academy passed her over. When she finally received an honorary Oscar in 1994, the acknowledgement felt both celebratory and bittersweet. Many consider it one of the Academy's greatest mistakes, overlooking a talent that profound for so long. But when Deborah accepted that honorary award, she did it with the same humility and grace that defined her entire career. Her personal life unfolded like chapters in a novel she never intended to publish. She married Squadron Leader Anthony Bartley in 1945, a decorated war pilot who seemed like the perfect partner for a rising star. They had 2 daughters, Melanie and Francesca. On paper, it looked like a fairy tale, but fame changes things. Success changes things. As Deborah's star rose higher and higher, the balance in her marriage shifted in ways neither of them could control. Bartley struggled watching his wife become an international icon while his own achievements faded into the background. The resentment grew. The distance widened. Her career demanded months away from home, and emotional gaps became canyons they couldn't bridge. By 1959, the marriage ended. Not with scandal or drama, but with the quiet acknowledgement that sometimes love isn't enough when 2 people are being pulled in opposite directions. A year later, she married Peter Vertel, a writer and screenwriter who understood the creative world she inhabited. This partnership felt different, built on shared artistic understanding rather than post-war hope. They split their time between Switzerland and Spain, creating a life away from Hollywood's glare. When her health began declining years later, Deborah made the deeply personal choice to return to Britain, to be closer to her daughters. Family, in the end, mattered more than geography or convenience. But here's where the story takes a turn nobody expected. For decades, audiences wondered about the real relationship between Deborah Kerr and Burt Lancaster. Their on-screen chemistry was explosive, dangerous, magnetic in ways that seemed too real to be just acting. Studios played up the mystery, alternately hinting at romance and denying it completely. Fans speculated endlessly, and Deborah stayed quiet, protecting both her privacy and his legacy, until near the end of her life, when she finally spoke the truth. Working with Burt Lancaster, she revealed, was nothing like the public imagined. Yes, he had presence. Yes, he filled every room he entered before speaking a single word. That intensity audiences loved, it never turned off. He lived at full volume, Deborah admitted. There was no halfway with Burt, not emotionally, not physically, not creatively. That approach thrilled directors and captivated audiences, but it also made him exhausting to work with. Deborah confessed to feeling overwhelmed by his relentless energy, by the way he pushed every boundary simply because he believed he could. His confidence bordered on recklessness. Burt believed rules were for other people, she said with stunning bluntness. He didn't think he was being difficult. He thought he was being honest. And that honesty? It could be brutal. He challenged directors openly, argued with producers, questioned scripts even when it risked his career. To Deborah, this defiance was both admirable and unsettling, a double-edged sword that cut in multiple directions. Then she addressed the question everyone wanted answered. Did they have an affair? Deborah was firm and clear. People wanted us to be what we played, she explained. The emotional connection was real. The mutual respect was genuine. The attraction existed. But attraction and action are different things. Attraction doesn't always mean indulgence, she stated, drawing a line that ended decades of speculation. The most shocking revelation came next. Beneath Burt's fearless exterior, Deborah saw something fragile and wounded. Burt carried anger with him, she confessed. Not cruelty. Anger at limitation. At being told no. At the idea that life might not bend to his will. She believed this internal struggle fueled his greatest performances while simultaneously destroying him from the inside. His later years hit him hardest. Watching his body fail. Watching his physical strength disappear, stripped away the very identity he'd built his entire life around. That was the cruelest irony, Deborah said softly. A man who trusted his body above all else had to watch it betray him. But here's what matters most. Deborah didn't share these truths to tear him down. Her final words about Burt Lancaster carried admiration mixed with sorrow. It wasn't easy, she acknowledged, but greatness rarely is. She credited him with raising her own standards, with forcing her to meet his intensity instead of retreating from it. Burt made you braver whether you wanted to be or not. In the end, Deborah Kerr's shocking truth wasn't scandalous in a tabloid sense. It was profoundly human. Burt Lancaster, she revealed, was neither saint nor monster. He was a fiercely driven man whose brilliance couldn't be separated from his flaws. I would work with him again without hesitation, she concluded, because even when he frightened you, he never bored you. And in our world, that was everything. Deborah Kerr passed away on October 16, 2007, at age 86, in a quiet village in Suffolk, England. Parkinson's disease had gradually taken her physical abilities, but it never diminished the respect she commanded or the legacy she left behind. She faced that final chapter with the same quiet strength she'd brought to every role, every challenge, every moment of her remarkable life. She spent decades creating unforgettable cinema. She gave 6 Oscar-nominated performances. She partnered with legends and created moments that will outlive us all. But perhaps her greatest gift was the honesty she finally shared about the complicated, brilliant, difficult, unforgettable Burt Lancaster. She showed us that behind Hollywood's golden images lived real people with real struggles, real conflicts, and real humanity. If this story moved you, if it changed how you see Hollywood's golden age, hit that like button and subscribe for more untold stories from cinema's greatest era. And share this with anyone who believes that the truth, even when it's complicated, is always worth telling.